Hi everyone, Louis here, and welcome to the weekend. What a week it was for silver and gold, but mostly for silver. It is blowing through all my expectations and sitting up here over $23, having gotten past the 22 barrier, the 22.50 barrier, and now sitting with some pretty decent range in between 23 and 24, maybe even 25. What is going on? I certainly didn't expect this, but a lot has happened. While I talk, I'm just going to show you some of my favorite silver pieces, which I'll cut into this video after the dialogue. As you know, we had people continue to interpret what Powell says as dovish, right? And no matter what he says, people still seem to think that he is hinting towards a pivot. Now, a pivot would be going from increasing to decreasing interest rates, but now we've redefined pivot to slowing down, I guess. But it has happened almost every time he has spoken. People take the most positive interpretation of what he's saying, and although he said we'll be reducing the size of rate increases, well, everybody already knew that he was planning to go to 50 and then 25. So I just think it's the market injecting more hopium. I think we're up here at a critical juncture, and I honestly still think a couple months from now we'll be sitting at new lows. But for right now, the market is optimistic, and I guess we have the added benefit that 14 out of 15 times recently, December has been a positive month for stocks. So that has not been lost on precious metals. That has not been lost on the miners, which have exploded higher, but are showing, I think, a little bit of fatigue up here. And I actually reduced my miner position by half in all my different miners. So for silver, the things, yesterday, Friday, when the labor report came out pretty strong, the market sold off, metals sold off, and bond yields increased. And then over time, it was all bought back up. Everything repaired itself and came back up, except for the NASDAQ, which is kind of the laggard of the three indexes. But metals coming up is somewhat surprising to me. I think that there are several things going on with silver and gold. Let's just talk about silver. There were a couple of interesting videos this week, one of which was from Road to Ruta, Bix Weir, who has got a really interesting analysis of the U.S. Mint being naked short in the silver market, not in the gold market, but in the silver market. And he lays out the facts where he believes that they have been naked shorting silver and actually losing money doing it. So take a look at that if you have a chance, see what you think. It did look a lot like short covering. Like, I think there is some short covering going on in silver. But, I don't know. We've got some great strength. The other interesting video, which is, a counter indication, is from Vermilion Enterprises. If you don't know them, please sub to them. They sell and buy precious metals, and he gives a good, honest view of the retail walk-in LCS market. And he said that he's seeing a lot of his customers needing to pay bills, pay taxes, and liquidating silver and gold at these higher prices. Matter of fact, at one point, I think he said that he was seeing people selling at 20 to 1 to people buying. When silver gets more expensive, gold gets more expensive, and people are broke, then perhaps they don't buy as much. And when they have bills, which the American consumer is leveraged to the hilt, one of the highest credit card balances in recent history. Things are tough out there, and I don't think that we can let this increase in prices in metals and in the stock market dissuade us from the reality that we are going to be going into recession. If you're watching the housing market, it is getting more and more dire. Every video I see, you have to remember it takes housing 1 to 2 years to start to react to to changes in the marketplace. So that's coming. The layoffs are coming. Even though the labor market appears strong, I believe the layoffs are coming. And the most important thing, if not the only important thing, if there was nothing else to debate about, you have to know that an earnings recession is coming in the Fortune 500. The analysts just have not taken down their numbers yet. But virtually every time someone has to report, when they finally have to lift up the kimono, they report failing earnings, decreasing projections, and a recognition that the consumer, although the narrative right now is that the consumer is buying, the consumer is going to be pulling back, because if you have to choose between food and gas and buying a new iPhone, you're going to choose the food and gas. So I think that we are in kind of a happy talk period here, but I cannot deny that silver and gold are just looking fantastic. And if I were going to buy anything here, it would be gold before I would buy silver. As I told you last week, silver had to prove itself, and it did. But I'm still holding back. I'm not buying either silver or gold at the moment. I want to see what happens. Now, what's really also happening, the other thing that you can watch if you want, which is kind of confusing, is that we have been predicting that the dollar would fall off at some point here. It's been incredibly strong, up like, I don't know, 15, 20%. And at some point, the dollar was going to pull back. Now, and that's what's happened. The dollar has been pulling back. It's in a correction mode. I don't personally think it's down and out. I think that's pretty well played out. And I think the dollar will resume its uptrend, not because the dollar buys you more, not because our government is not corrupt, not because I respect the dollar and what we've done to our debt situation, but because the United States will always prove, at least for probably my lifetime, to be the best alternative to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is really shaky. We did have some news that Biden was negotiating a peace deal in the Ukraine. I think that possibly, strengthened foreign currency. And, we have had the dollar dropping off as long-term interest rates have been dropping off. As I said last week, who is buying the 10-year bond? Because the stories of other countries selling the bond are being dwarfed by whoever is buying it, and they have come in virtually every day and bought the 10-year and driven the yields down. That's very interesting. Nobody was buying the 10-year when it was at 4.5, but somehow, at 3.5, everybody wants to buy it. Why is that? Because I think more people are predicting recession, although the stock market seems to be predicting some weird soft landing, soft recession, softer CPI. Really makes no sense. So, right now I think there's some wishful thinking in the markets. The dollar has been dropping. That has put a rocket on the back of silver, and we are rightfully so up, at a really decent valuation, only $7 away from $30. I mean, if you look at where we came from, $18 up to 23 and change, we are only $7 away from $30. And once silver gets in the 23s, I think it's very possible it could take a run to 24, 25. I mean, that's fantastic for people that, already have a sizable stack. Not so good for people that are beginning out, and that's why I would hold off buying right here. I don't buy on uptrends. I only buy on downtrends. I've seen premiums come down, but what does it matter if silver's $5 higher than it used to be? $1.65 premium, which I spotted last week, it doesn't help that much. And as I said, I'm not buying here. So, but if you are buying, the premiums are coming down. Another interesting thing that Vermilion has said is that premiums on Eagles, Silver Eagles, Gold Eagles, and U.S. Constitutional are crashing. All right, he's predicting they will drop further. So, if you're hoping for that $40 Eagle you bought is going to be worth, $50 tomorrow, well, I think very possibly you'll be standing still as spot increases and premium drops. Why is that? Perhaps because demand is falling off. And it could be that, people's financial situation is outweighing the excitement that they usually have when spot prices increase. The other thing that's happening is the crypto market imploding with all kinds of knock-on effects. And could also very well be that people are finally liquidating their crypto. Good for you if you got out of Bitcoin at 17,000. I think it's going to 10. But good for you if you got out of crypto and you bought some silver and you bought some gold. Bravo, nice move. And maybe that is part of the tailwind as well. Beyond that, I don't know what's going on at the COMEX, and I'm not sure what's happening in the paper markets, but people have definitely been buying silver and gold, and mostly silver. So that's I'm kind of in a confused state. I think we are near an inflection point, and I think things will look different shortly here. It might take until January, but I don't think the dollar's strength is done. And although I think long rates will be soft because recession is more obvious now, somehow I just don't think a 3.5 10-year is going to hold. I think we're going to pop higher than that for one last run before we start heading down along with inflation. But I do not expect inflation to go back to 4% tomorrow. I think it's going to be sticky up here, where we are, but dropping. So we can celebrate dropping inflation, but that doesn't remove the inflation that we've already have. That doesn't make groceries any cheaper. It just means that they'll be even more expensive next month, but not quite as much more as the month before. That's nothing to celebrate. No, we're in a sticky period here, and I think we've got a little bit of holiday madness. But I love to see the metal strong, and I can't knock it. And for those that bought, they made a good buy. The only thing I've bought, as you know, when I stop buying bullion, I typically turn to collector coins, and I was able to snag one of those Kilo Britannias from Great Britain. So I've got that coming to show you. I love that coin. So that was what I bought last week. But until further notice, my powder is going to be dry, and I'm going to be waiting for better entry points. What are you doing? And what did you take advantage of the prices that when they were lower? Are you selling? I mean, I guess a lot of people are. And if you need money, I think that's what silver and gold can be used for. But where do you sit right now? I'd love to hear. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the little silver show. All right, see you next week.